When Jane moved to the quaint village of Eldermist, she was eager for a fresh start. The air was crisp, the scenery breathtaking, and the townsfolk seemed friendly enough. Eldermist had an eerie charm, something the real estate pamphlet called a historic allure. Her new home, an ancient stone cottage nestled on the edge of the village, had been vacant for decades. Jane, an avid historian, fell in love with its colonial architecture and timeless beauty. Soon after moving in, Jane started noticing peculiar occurrences. At night, whispering winds seemed to echo through the hallways, carrying whispers that spoke her name. Shadows stretched longer than nature intended, and she could often feel an icy breath on her neck despite the summer warmth. One evening, while cleaning the attic, Jane discovered an old, leather-bound diary. The diary belonged to a woman named Abigail Baines who had lived during the early 19th century. Jane's curiosity got the better of her, and she began to read. Abigail's entries were filled with fear and desperation, chronicling the malevolent presence in the house. Abigail wrote about how the house was built on cursed land, and no one who had lived there had ever left unscathed. Late one night, Jane was startled awake by the sound of footsteps in the hallway. She grabbed a flashlight and cautiously crept towards the noise. The light flickered and died, plunging her into darkness. Suddenly, a chilling voice called her name, followed by a spectral hand reaching out from the shadows toward her. Paralyzed with fear, Jane squeezed her eyes shut and screamed. When Jane opened her eyes, she found herself alone, drenched in sweat. The sense of dread grew with each passing day. Determined to uncover the truth, she visited the local library and stumbled upon an old newspaper archive. To her horror, she discovered that Abigail Baines had vanished without a trace, and every subsequent owner of the cottage had met a mysterious end. Realizing she was in grave danger, Jane decided to leave Eldermist. But on the eve of her departure, the house had other plans. A ferocious storm engulfed the village, cutting off all means of escape. Bound by fear and the sinister hold of the cottage, Jane's sanity began to unravel. The last entry in her personal diary, found years later, read, "The shadows have claimed me. I am forever part of this cursed place." The cottage, once again vacant, waited patiently for its next inhabitant, its dark secrets buried within its ancient walls.